What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here, and we are playing some Watcher of Realms. Guys, today's video is going to be focused all around GVG again. I'm really excited about this new setup. I was a little worried at first about the initial change of the tiles, but realistically, guys, I think it's actually working out a little bit better for me. If you watch the previous GVG video, which will be linked in the cards above, you'll be able to see sort of my initial thoughts on it. But today we're going to talk about how successful my defense has been so far. Let's dive into it. And welcome back, guys. Let's just quickly dive in, guys. This is the first round of GVG here. You see we're in round one. We are versus the Crazy Killers. So far, we are winning. We do have a relatively even balance here. We got 60 attacks. They've got 59 attacks. So far, we're doing really well. And so far, I also have to say that we have some very good people with some really good defenses. We've got our vice leader here with 12 wins on defense. We have another vice leader, Space, here with 9 wins on defense. We've got quite a few people that just have really positive win records, which is really, really exciting to see. But let's go and quickly dive into my defense specifically. So unfortunately, we were taken out, but we did get 9 wins with only 3 defeats. And you may be wondering, well, how does that make sense? You have 3 defeats, but you need to have 3 defeats per battle. That's because some of these fights did unfortunately let a 1 or 2 units through. However, I'm okay and satisfied with that. And the reason is I would love to, of course, have denied them completely, obviously, but we're going up against much higher BP guilds. And so because of that, we're seeing, they're punching down against us. And the fact that we're able to actually get a victory in a lot of these cases, even if it's only defending against 1 or 2 of the health, that forces them to use an additional attack. So even if they only get 1 through or they get 2 through, it's a really big help. So I want to quickly go through, and I know I already talked about this first team. So this first team, we've made some slight changes, and I want to go ahead and show you what those changes are. So let's hop in here real quick. We're actually still using the same team. We've just made some changes to the positioning. So one of the pieces of positioning that we've changed is actually in regards to our Vierna placement. So as you can see, my Vierna is sitting right here. And that's because I want her to be a little bit safer. I'm actually thinking about it now. This is something that just popped into my head. I'm actually going to change this again. So we're actually going to change this live on stream here, guys, because I did remember that on some of my attempts, we were actually fighting a team where we were completely safe in this square. And I'm a little curious if that makes some sense to be able to do that. Plus, we can put our Morrigan here, followed up with our Hollow here, and actually just place our Zillatu right behind our Baron. This could be something that actually works a little bit better, because we're actually going to start being able to DPS quicker on our Vierna, which is really good, because that means she's going to get her ultimate faster, which means she'll be able to do the execute faster, which if they use the big boys, we're going to get a ton of extra damage. So a little bit of theory crafting here, but also sort of using some of the things that I fought already in the game to see how this works. So we're going to give that a try for the next one, but really what I want to focus on is my second team. So this is what the second team looks like. Let's hop in here, check the battle record. You can see here that we have a ton of victories. Now, of course, some of these victories did, like I said before, let 1 or 2 units through. But this is the current setup, right? We're using Boreas, which I know a lot of you are going to say that's a cheat code. Boreas is very good, don't get me wrong, but really, I feel like one of the higher value things here is having the double tank, right? Having Isolde and Olag here to block when they send a wave of little guys in is really helpful when it comes to allowing Boreas and Valkyra to do their jobs. I think that that's probably actually the real thing here. Of course, Boreas doing Boreas things is helping a lot, but really, we're getting a decent amount of, viability from the DPS that we're able to pull out because of the double tank, right? You just saw there that even though they were able to move past my Olag, my Isolde was able to slow them down again. And so we're able to get a perfect victory. They didn't get a single thing through our defense. And this is really exciting to me. And another point, and this is a little, hey guys, double check yourself, is my Valkyra was missing gear when this happened. I don't know if you could tell, but she wasn't doing a ton of damage. Also, I have a video coming out here soon that you'll be able to see it, but a little bit of a sneak peek about this. We've recently pulled an additional Olag's Wall, Bastion Ring, whatever you want to call it, which means that our Olag is actually going to be able to have another one of these Olag's Walls, which means that we're going to be able to block an additional unit, which is just going to make this team that much better. So definitely some increases coming, but you can see here my Valkyrie is doing about 500 damage because she was missing her gear because I was too slow to make the swap. It was an honest mistake on my part, but once we get that gear on Valkyrie, I think this team is going to do even better than it already did. And guys, it's already done so well, right? We have, I think it was 7 victories so far with this team alone, because my other team had 2 victories. So really going 9-3 is, my opinion, is actually a really, really good score because it's wasting 12 attacks, right? They wasted 12 attacks on my defenses alone. And if we go back and we look, they have 240 attacks, right? So 12 times 2 is 240. 240 or 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 10 is 240, right? Which means that they used 5% of their attacks on just little old me, which is really, really, really good, right? And same thing goes with a bunch of my other guys, right? Like we've got 4 wins here, 6 wins here, 12 wins here. They're wasting a ton of their attacks by losing. And of course, this is a new meta. Things are going to change. But ultimately, I think that this is probably a very good strategy for people to use. It's similar to the strategy before, but with some slightly different placement. And I think one of the things that I was initially worried about was, with the healing placement on some of these teams, healers might not be able to hit everybody. But if we're able to focus all of the people on targeting our main tank or our secondary tank, really it doesn't matter as long as those few people are able to do their job correctly. But yeah, I'm a little curious how you guys are feeling about the changes to the GVG so far. I think that this is actually pretty nice. I like the change of the only having 90 health because it makes a loss feel a little less right? Like you don't have to, you're not completely destroyed by losing because you have, a little bit of extra wiggle room, I guess we could say, right? Because you don't have to do 120 damage per tower, you only have to do the 90. So losing one attack would be basically like winning that attack when we had the old system of 120, right? So it's not nearly as bad. I will say that there is some things that I do see a lot of people using, and that is particularly these lightning guards right here. I also got a lightning guard, and I have been using lightning guard, and they are very powerful. I think that is one of the things that this comp right here is not super good at protecting myself against. However, I mean, we're doing a pretty good job, I think, with this comp, and we've actually made some changes to the gear of these champions as well. So we're going to go ahead and quickly show off the gear on these champions, just so you can kind of get a feel for what they look like. But let's go ahead and check out this team down here. So first we have our Isolde here. My Isolde is just built very tanky, right? We've got almost 90k HP, about 5200 defense. A little bit of crit rate and a little bit of crit damage, mainly because we are running the Glacier set and we do have her at A3. So she's actually getting 11% of her max HP as attack. So she's actually dealing a decent amount of damage. Not a lot, but more than a normal tank would. So that's the main thing there for Isolde. Then we have our Oleg. My Oleg is literally just built to be as tanky as possible, right? Almost 8,400 HP, 5,500 defense. We have also put on a Bastion Ring. Remember, my Oleg did not have a Bastion Ring in the last battle, so we did not have that additional block, and now we have that also additional physical and magic damage reduction for every blocked unit up to 4, right? So we're going to be getting 16% damage reduction of both physical and magical. Very powerful there. Then we can go into our Valkyra. So here is my Valkyra. She is just built to be basically a really strong DPS. I definitely think I could make some changes. Normally, I use my Valkyra with my Zillatu's gear. However, because I'm using Zillatu on the other team, I probably need to maybe work something out and make some changes, but ultimately I think this is a relatively decent DPS set. We'll have to see how it works in the next, since I didn't have gear on her in this last time, but overall I think it's going to be pretty well done. Then we have Vortex. Vortex is just in a pretty standard max HP set with a little bit of healing effect, a little bit of attack speed. Definitely could have some extra bonuses, but I think it's pretty good for now. And we've got the main man of the hour, Boreas. He is definitely the one who is doing the most DPS in here, and he is in a Soulbound Arcana set. Now, he was not in a Soulbound Arcana set before. He was in just some gear that I had thrown together because I didn't really feel like he needed a Soulbound Arcana set. He was doing so much damage without it, and because his ultimate is actually pretty high when it comes to cost, I figured, it's not really that crazy. I don't think he really needs it. I think it definitely would be better to put him in, for example, like an Ageless Wrath set or something else. However, this set is pretty good in my opinion. We could make some changes, of course, but ultimately I think it's a not terrible set. So we'll have to see how things work out in the next fight, but definitely think he's going to be doing some very good things for us. And then we'll quickly go ahead and show off the gear on these guys over here. So we've got our Morrigan. My Morrigan is in a pretty good set. She is in a Soulbound Arcana and Warlord set, almost with the max crit rate. We love that. Lots of attack speed, just so we can get lots of the damages off, right? Nothing crazy. And we want to be able to get her bombs as much as possible. So having that attack speed is pretty nice. But we have not put any skill ups into her because we just have too many people that need skill up, so she's not on our list quite yet. Then we have our Vierna here. Vierna is just in a very, very nice crit damage sort of associated DPS set. We're not putting her in a Soulbound Arcana or anything else like that. We just haven't earned this kind of typical insight set. It's a pretty good pieces of gear, so working out to be pretty decent in terms of stats. Then we have Hollow. Hollow isn't our standard guild boss gear. I haven't changed it. I don't have a reason to change it. I think she does the job perfectly. Then we've got Baron. Baron is in just sort of thrown together set. He's almost at that 100k and 6k threshold for stats. And we have him with a Bastion Ring, so he has that additional block and damage reduction. And then Zillatu is in, again, our pretty much best set of gear on the account. Looking pretty good in my opinion, right? We've got 12.2k attack and 437% crit damage. And we've also knocked out a pretty decent chunk of her attack, so she's actually attacking pretty quickly as well. Ultimately, I think this setup is working really well. I kind of wanted to do a follow-up video to the previous one simply because I wanted to show you what it looked like once we were kind of coming to a close. And even though we still have a little bit of time left in the guild battle, right, we still have about 19 hours, seeing as how I have no more health, I figured this is the perfect time to kind of show off what my defense was able to do and also kind of give you insight on what I'm going to be changing to try and counteract the problems that I did see, and also taking into account things that I learned from attacking and looking at my other guild members' attacks and defenses. But guys, let me know down in the comment section below, how well did your defense do? How do you like this new tile setup? Do you think it's nicer? Do you think it's worse? I'm real curious what you guys think. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content from me in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.